Hi, it's Mark Shepherd. I'm an acupuncturist in Donington, West Sussex. Today, I have the privilege of speaking to Jimmy Yen. Hi, Jimmy. Jimmy is actually a mentor of mine. He practices over in Austin, Texas, where he has two clinics, and he's been in practice since 2007. So, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on, Mark.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. And the first time I actually came across you, Jimmy, was I saw you being interviewed on an international Facebook group for acupuncturists, and the subject was neuropathy, and it was fascinating. Because what I noticed was that you were talking about a very complicated subject, but you could you seemed to make it very understandable. So, and neuropathy, as I understand it, is a speciality of yours.
Correct.
How did that all come around? How did it come about?
Yeah, so it kind of just fell into my laps in the sense of, seeing results. And so, I started almost every acupuncturist we treated, we were kind of like a general practitioner. So like in Western medicine sense, we're like a family doctor. We treat, kids to 90, 100-year-old patients, and we treat every type of disorder. And so I started off like that, and then gradually I started getting, a little more neurological problems and patients, and specifically neuropathy. And I would probably say, and maybe 6, 7 years ago, I got a lot of cases where for neuropathy, and with neuropathy, there's so many different causes, which I can talk about a little later. But I started treating a lot of these neuropathy cases, and I got mentors and coaches to help me, and I was starting to get great results.
Hmm,
Because neuropathy is, so if we define
that'd be
neuropathy
great.
is basically nerve. The nerve is actually dying, and there's many reasons why they could be dying. But when I was treating him, we were actually seeing, some of the reversal, like regeneration, like the nerves were actually starting to grow and regenerate. And this was very shocking, because in Western medicine, there's no treatments that can help. There's no medication. There's no medication that can help the nerves regrow. Most of the treatments for Western medicine for neuropathy is mostly to and the burning, the tingling, but nothing addressed the numbness. I
Hmm,
mean, patients with neuropathy, they're told by the neurologist they just have to live with it.
hmm.
And so when I started seeing that we were actually stimulating the regeneration of the nerves, it was very exciting. And then, you know, I was fortunate to treat, quite a few hundred of these cases back then. And one of the patients actually was on this part of this neuropathy. And he came in, it wasn't just neuropathy. He also had other neurological problems. And he was seeing so phenomenal results. Just like every other patient, just like your patients, they've gone to every single specialist under the sun except for us.
Hmm.
And finally, he came to see me and got phenomenal results. And he invited me to speak for that nonprofit organization. And I spoke for them and treated, and a lot of their patients came to seek treatments from me, and improving their quality of life. And before I knew it, probably 1 or 2 years down the road, they asked me to be on their medical advisory committee for this neuropathy association. And in that committee, it's a medical advisory committee, there's 3 other neurologists in my city, and I was the only acupuncturist. And so I was super blessed and excited and honored to be asked to be on their board, because we would help them make some in regards to the direction of that organization. But that's how, long story short, that's how I started to really specialize in treating not just neuropathy, but also neurological conditions.
Hmm. And like you say, you were asked to talk to be a member of that board, but as well as that, um, uh, I noticed that you're a mentor to the physician assistants, and that's through the Mayo College of Medicine. So you're really getting recognised in this area.
Yeah, and so I I've knew based on the results that I've been producing, word gets around, and actually there's two kind of residency programs or mentors program. One is the physician. So I was fortunate. So physicians, when they go to medical school here in the U.S., their last year they get to choose. They get to choose like 1 month. They get to choose a specialty. Like they just go out and observe, and one of those physicians, and so she came to my clinic for 1 month, and she observed, for 1 month with me, following, just like my shadow, watching me produce phenomenal results. And she says most of her peers chose plastic surgery, and so she was the only one that actually chose something like alternative medicine.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we went through that. That was the Baylor College of Medicine. And we also we had mentor programs with physician assistants. How that happened was a physician assistant, he was actually part of the, I think it was also Baylor College of Medicine for physician assistants. He was like I don't know what they're called.
Right. So I don't know if you can hear me, Jimmy. The
Out to a
internet.
cardiology clinic, to a chiropractic clinic, to a physical therapy clinic, and to an acupuncture clinic. And I was part of that rotation. So we had quite a few physician assistants rotate through our clinic. And then the last program that we were also was nurse practitioners. So nurse practitioners, nurses who, excuse me, nurses who are going to school to become nurse practitioners. They also have to go through a rotation, and one of the rotations is in. And so, a couple of them chose my clinic, and same thing. They would be side by side watching me treat patients with acupuncture, Chinese medicine, nutrition, just completely different from what they're trained in. And so, yeah, over the years, I've been super blessed, very honored that many people have, even other acupuncturists from all over the world, Canada, have come to my clinic to shadow me, train with me, just to learn what we're doing, with neurological problems.
And for someone suffering from neuropathy, it can be really quite a scary thing because you have the pain, you have the numbness, but also you have people who are suddenly very active throughout their lives that are finding themselves quite unstable on their feet. And as the instability grows, their confidence decreases, and you get a really nasty little cycle going on there. So to be able to break through that, really quite a significant thing to bring, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean it's not for it's don't know exactly how they feel. They only explain it to me. But
Uh-huh.
it's like for those people who have never experienced neuropathy and do not know anything about how it would feel.
Huh?
Imagine your feet going. When you're sitting on your legs
Yeah.
and they go to sleep, right?
Hmm.
So that's kind of what you feel. You feel the pins and needles and tingling. Well, imagine that 24/7.
Yeah.
That's the onset, the beginning of neuropathy.
Mm.
And so, yes, it's very uncomfortable, right? Because what happens when you sit on your legs and it goes to, you try to shake it off, and you
Yeah.
try to, you just stand there and it comes back. Well, these patients, they can't stand there because they ain't coming back if they
No.
don't do anything about it. So, and that's just the pain, pins, needles, and tingling. But like you said, the
Yeah.
numbness is worse. Imagine if you couldn't even feel the floor that you're walking on. That's how severe it is.
Mm.
And yes, I mean, they lose their quality of life very, very quickly. Um, you know, so neuropathy that I've treated typically are a little in the older. They're about 50 to 90 years old. Not 50, sorry, 60 to 90-year-olds.
Mm.
Actually, I'd say 50. I've had a few that are in the
Mm.
40, 50s, but I would say between 60-year-old to 90-year-olds, and a little more, 90, probably 60 to 95. So those people, their quality of life has significantly reduced. And they do lose confidence because they can't feel the constantly looking at the floor
Mm.
to make sure that where they're walking, right? So they're using their eyes more to gauge where they are, and they're afraid. The number one fear is falling, because they're at that age where if they fall, sometimes they won't get up.
Nope.
They could break, fracture something, and create more problems. And so that's, so they're functioning a lot out of fear because they can't feel things. And that is very, devastating. It's alarming. It changes your life. I mean, they have to do things differently. They can't drive. That's another thing. They lose their independence.
Yes.
And at least I don't know how it is in the UK, but here in the US, people love their independence,
Mm.
right? That's what this country is known for. And when they lose that independence, now they have to, they need someone to drive them wherever they go, right? They need like one of those emergency buttons, right? That they wear on them. They can't get up. They can push that button and some emergency people can help them. I mean, they're very limited, especially if they're single. If they're not married and they're single, it's very, yeah, your independence is almost gone.
Mm-hmm. And it's like you can get some people who are quite young, but they seem quite old, but also
Yeah.
some people who are quite old who really at heart are quite young.
Oh,
When they,
yeah.
but they suddenly start feeling old when this is creeping in. So it's a great thing to give them back. And it's like when we're listening to you, it's that it's what they get back again, as well as the numbness going. It's like I can do this again. I can go to my dancing classes again, which is a lovely thing to hear about. And as you were saying, you still treat a whole variety of conditions still come in the door. So it's, I guess, really when you look at acupuncture and speciality, the people that specialize in, say, fertility, sometimes they're just fertility. But other than that, I imagine you just get a whole host of things that come through the door.
Yeah. Yeah, so we still treat, common, I would say common things that a
Mm.
lot of acupuncturists treat,
Hmm.
pains, back pain, neck pain, headaches, wrist pain, plantar fasciitis,
Mm.
infertility, digestive disorders, skin disorders, diabetes. I mean, we're really good at treating all of those. We focus a lot of neurological, just because we treat a lot of those,
Mm.
and we have great, um, and we still help people. Like a lot of times people will come in for neuropathy and they'll be like, oh, I also have digestive problems. Can you help me with that? And and also another reason why we end up treating a lot of things also like digestive disorders, immune system, allergies. We're treating a lot of allergies right
Mm.
now
Mm.
because the allergy is pretty bad here in Austin right now. But one of the reasons why we treat all of those things together is because, as you know, in Chinese medicine, we don't treat diseases, right? We treat, and you can say we treat the person, but our focus is on organ function and restoration of organ function. So, that could mean, so that's not a disease, right? So we focus, our goal is to figure out the cause. In Chinese medicine, we say we treat the root cause of disorders. So the root cause of 10 people who have neuropathy may be completely different. And what I mean by that is the root cause is finding which organ is dysfunctioning. And then once we find that organ that's dysfunctioning, then we go in and we help that organ function better. And when that organ functions better and starts doing all of its, million jobs, then actually the disease that the patient was having, the symptoms that the patient was having actually starts to go away, gets resolved. But here's the thing, we weren't treating those symptoms. We weren't treating those disease. We were treating the cause, the root cause, the root organ dysfunction that was causing those disease. And so sometimes, for example, one cause of neuropathy is an autoimmune, okay, auto autonomic and also autonomic neuropathy, right? But there are autoimmunes, and so what does that mean? Autoimmune means there's a immune system problem. So then we look at, okay, what organs control or help regulate our immune system? And then we use our diagnostic tools to find out, to detect, to see which of those organs that are responsible for the immune system, which one of them, and a lot of times is the gut. So when we're treating this, so for this neuropathy patient, the autoimmune problem, the autoimmune neuropathy is actually the root cause is the gut. So to help with the autoimmune neuropathy, we actually focus on treating the gut and not necessarily the neuropathy, right? But when we fix the gut, it helps the neuropathy. And so that's what fixing or focusing on the root cause means. So we don't necessarily treat the neuropathy disease. In Western medicine, if they have burning pain, then they give something, a medication called Neurontin, or it's also called gabapentin. And that is a nerve, I would say, it's specifically for nerve pain. So their focus, Western medicine is focused on the nerve pain in the foot, or it could be in the hands, or actually it can be anywhere. But mostly it's in the feet. So they're focused on the nerves in the feet, right where the patient focused on the foot and nothing else, right? And so they give that medication addressing just that problem, but it never fixes the problem because the problem, like an autoimmune neuropathy, is in the gut. So Neurontin is not going to fix the immune system. It's not going to fix the gut. It doesn't even focus on the gut. And so that's the main difference between, what we do as Chinese medicine practitioners and Western medicine. I'm not saying that the medication is that there's not a place for gabapentin. It's a lifesaver. It works very quickly and it can help symptomatically and make it a little more comfortable, right? And that's actually, sometimes it's good because it makes them more comfortable. So the patient actually has the ability to do a little more, and which means come to our clinic to get treatments. So the Neurontin is actually giving us some time to help us fix the root cause. And while we fix the root cause, and the patient needs to take less and less of Neurontin and a gabapentin, and sooner or later they can get off of it, right? And so that's why we're called Achieve Integrative Health. We integrate Chinese medicine, Western medicine. We work alongside. Both medicines has its strength, and if we can use the strength of both medicine and combine it together, then the results are miraculous.
Yeah, that is such a good point. Well, numerous good points. Just taking notes here, but sometimes I have patients come into me and they almost assume that I don't like Western medicine, whereas my message to them is just grab the best of both and put it together. And it's like if you're going out to a restaurant, you don't want to worry about one bit of food's going to upset the other bit of food. Just if it all goes together, it goes together. That's what you got to worry about. And
Yes.
and what you were saying there as well about treating the root cause, two things came to me from that. One, that's how the other things start coming together for someone. They come in and go, this is feeling better too. And it's like, yeah, I'm treating the root cause, which is absolutely lovely. And the other thing is, it's why typically there is so much goes on at the front end. So when someone comes in to see you initially, it's not, oh, okay, you've got this happening here. You go right through asking all about them. You take pulse diagnosis. You look at their tongue. So it's quite a detailed process that we go through before we actually commence treatment.
Yeah, we definitely, like in our clinic, we spend a lot of time during. We do a little things. We do a little different. We go straight into the exam. We do offer, I would say we do, if someone that is new to our clinic, we do offer the opportunity if they want to talk to me over the phone, for like free consultation. We do offer that, but majority, I'll say 99.9% of our patients, new patients, when they come into our office, it's straight to initial exam, and we block off a whole hour. I mean, when they come to our clinic, it's an experience that if doesn't matter if they've gone to other acupuncture clinics.
Mm-hmm.
Our experience is completely different. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong or better or worse. I'm just saying the difference that, patients tell us, the feedback we get all the time is that we spend so much time, finding out what's the root cause, and we go really in depth. We do a detailed consultation. I don't like to say consultation because consultation is just like talking and asking questions.
Yeah.
We do an extensive exam with the consultation, so we know exactly what is going on, and we have a specific protocol for us to determine if the acupuncture is going to help them or not. Because in our clinic, acupuncture in Chinese medicine is very black or white. I know some practitioners may think opposite of what I said. But that's just I'm just talking about my clinic. What I mean by that is we will know definitively through our protocol and our process if we're going to be able to help our patients with neuropathy, or not. So it's a very yes or no question. And so part of that, the reason why we can do that, why it's so black and white in our clinic, is because we do an extensive initial exam. Like in our initial exam, we have people, if they can just start from the intake. Our intake forms are so about how long it is, but we need that information. We need to know, because again, we're not focused on the neuropathy. We're focused on what's causing the neuropathy. And so fix it. If we were just focused on the neuropathy, I could do a 5-minute consultation till you jump on the bed and I can start throwing needles on you, right? But that would only be symptom relief. In our clinic, we are truly focused on corrective care, which is correcting the root problem. Now, what does that mean though? Corrective care basically means there's so many different definitions out there, and I'm going to let you know my definition. My definition of corrective care is that we help the patients, get to a point where their symptoms are gone, okay, and they don't come back. But more importantly, their body is healing itself by itself without me, without acupuncture, without herbs, without supplements, only through. That is my definition of correcting the problem. So if I provide relief for a neuropathy patient, their burning, tingling, pins and needle sensation goes away with acupuncture. But then once we stop, all of it comes back. Then I just provided relief care. I didn't solve the problem. Okay. And so that's not, we do provide relief care, but that's not our goal. Our goal at Achieve Integrative Health is to fix the problem. So we can get itself again, because it once had that ability. I would say majority of the population, we were not, especially a majority of the neuropathy patients, they were not born with neuropathy. And so something happened from when they did not have neuropathy to now they do have neuropathy. So our goal is to get them back to when they did not have neuropathy, because when they did not have neuropathy, their organs were functioning, their body was healing itself. So our goal is to get them back to that point, not just provide symptom. Because if we just provide symptom relief, right, and if we just provide symptom relief, then we're doing the same thing like medication is, right? The gabapentin, they're just providing symptom relief. Once they stop the medication, all their symptoms come back. And the neuropathy actually is getting worse at the same time, right? And then we would be no different, right? In that situation, I would actually, yes, acupuncture is a more natural, is a natural form of medicine, but then, it's going to get very expensive. And that's a huge, patients or any patients, right? The expense of it. So if my clinic only provided symptom relief with acupuncture, then it's, it's almost no different from someone taking a medication,
Mhm.
applying symptom relief. And because of medication, it's actually cheaper than to have symptom relief with acupuncture. I mean, yes, acupuncture is natural and no side effects, but it's still, if you stop it and then the symptoms come back, it for me in my clinic defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
So problem, right? If you fix a problem, then that means your body's healing without acupuncture, without herbs, without supplements, without any other therapies that we do in our clinic. Then you won't need us, right? So, and I like to use the analogy of a flat tire. So if you have a flat tire, because I recently had a flat tire. I had a recent flat tire, and I pumped first. The first thing we do, everybody does, is you pump air into it, right? You fill it up, and then the next morning I was like, it's flat again, right? So I could choose. I had two choices. I can either go fill the tire with air again, okay, which cost me here in the U.S. Cost me $1.25. So $1.25 to fill my tire up every single time. I could do that, or I could take it to the garage, to the shop, auto shop, and get it fixed, right? Cost to fix the tire is going to cost a couple $100. I can do $1, fill the air every day, or I can spend $100 right now or $200 right now to fix it, right? So which one would I do? Well, obviously I fixed it because I understand, just like the body, if you fix the problem, then it's actually less expensive, right? Versus if I keep on pumping air, I would have to do that 2 times a day because I have to go to work, go home, and I got to pump air. So that's $2 per day, $2 per day forever. So how many thousands of dollars would I have to spend? Where I could have just spent $100 or $200 just to fix it in the first place, right? So I like to use that analogy as in what we do at Achieve Integrative Health is we help people fix the problem. We fix it. So actually in the long term, they actually save a lot more money. They save more money and they also save time, right?
And to take that one step further, if you keep on refilling your tire, it goes back to something else you were saying earlier on. It treats the symptoms, but the problem's actually getting worse. And as you work it at, the root cause level, it means the root cause is still shuffling along on its own unpleasant progression. So you haven't yet been able to get in there and do something about it. So going there and getting that tire fixed is definitely the way to go. And also from what you were saying there, it's back at the start, you're saying about hundreds. I mean, what you're saying comes from experience of treating hundreds and hundreds of people.
Yeah, that was back then. So
Mhm.
I would just say when I first started off, I treated, a few hundred patients and gained that experience. But
Mhm.
now, uh, yeah, I don't, I think we're close to maybe 8,000.
Yeah,
Uh, but yeah, so it's based off of experience. And that's the only way. It's not based on, theory. It's not, all of this is definitely based on clinical experience. And even now, like, like this week, with multiple sclerosis. But we don't need to talk about that. We can talk about that in another interview. But we're getting physicians themselves with neurological problems that
hmm
are coming to our clinic, and we're treating them. And they're choosing not to go to the Western medicine route because they know themselves it's not going to fix the problem. It's just delaying. Even some of it may slow down the neuropathy, but most of it will not. And so physicians know. So when physicians themselves and they come to my clinic, there's a reason because they want to reverse it. Now, I'm not saying we can reverse 100% of neuropathy. That's not what I'm saying. There are certain cases where we can maybe reverse only 50% of neuropathy. Or, the best case is obviously 100%, but it depends on the cause too. But even if we are able to reverse and restore, I would say restore 50% function, their whole life change,
absolutely.
right? Their whole life. I mean, You said actually something very interesting. So one thing that I like to focus on is what I call their life effect. So which is how is it neuropathy affecting their life? So majority, I would say the number one life effect, or the number one thing that is affected for my patients, is their ability to dance. And so I would say, almost probably 80% of them, when I ask them, okay, so what would you want to do if you got your feeling back in your feet? Or and the number one thing is, I would like to get back on the dance floor. And these are like 70, 80-year-olds.
Yeah. You need to get some cards for a dance school in your office and just
I
start
know.
passing these people down. Show them the way. It's and interestingly as well, as I understand about your clinic, you have numerous video testimonials as well, and photos up on the wall, which is a reassuring thing for people to see. The real people talking about real experiences.
Yeah, yeah. That's something we did because it's, every practitioner with any type of medicine, we can say how good we are and the great results and blah blah blah. Oh, we produce this result, we produce that result, blah blah blah. But if I were to go to another practitioner, how would I really ever know? Right? Because most of the patients don't even know me. It's the first, they have no idea who I am. And so that's why, we have, just like you said, on our YouTube page, we have at least 100 testimonials of our patients expressing their experience and the results that they get at our clinic. And in our clinic, we have something that's very special. We like to call it the Hall of Fame. And basically, we have this long hallway. And like in this long hallway, most doctors' offices, you'll see like behind me, you see all these beautiful pictures and stuff like that. But in our long hallway, it's from floor to ceiling is of testimonials. So we have testimonials all framed up in our long hallway. And yeah, it's just experiences over the years that we've gotten, the results that we've gotten, patients, I'm just thankful for that. They are willing to share their story and let other people know that, Chinese medicine is so powerful. And if you've never incorporated it into your life, or you definitely should, it should be the first line of defense, because it's the prevention. There's a saying, not to get off topic, but medicine in Chinese history, I would say, they classified the doctors, right? So they classify, so they would ask, who is a superior doctor? The superior, so most people think, oh, so the first reaction is, oh, if he takes away my symptom, then that's a superior doctor, right? And then another person would say, oh, but then what if the symptom comes back, right? So then they think, okay, oh, maybe it's if I cure the disorder, if the doctor cures me, right? So most people agree, okay, yes, that would be a superior doctor. And then one person said, actually, there's a doctor that's even better than these two. The doctor that prevents the patient from ever getting sick is the superior doctor. And that is called the emperor's medicine, and that is traditional Chinese medicine. And so traditional Chinese medicine has the ability to help you prevent you. And so that's, one of just when you were asking me that's what popped in my head.
Oh, no, it's a great comment. It's a great quote. And so if someone's sitting there now in Austin, Texas, they're kind of on the fence, do I, don't I, about come in and get going with acupuncture, what would be your message to them?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, what I would say to you is, give us a call. First thing, give us a call, and let us examine you. Let us, because here's the thing: we can't help everybody. Like I said, my clinic is very black or white. We're very straightforward. If we can't help you, we're going to tell you straightforward, we can't help you. Okay. And our process that I'm teaching now, multiple acupuncturists around the world on how we treat neuropathy, it is very effective. It has a high success rate. And so we know what we're doing. So if you are unclear, ask us any questions. Okay, we're here to serve you, and we are here to provide you with the answers that we can. If we don't have the answers, we will help you find those answers. But yeah, call us. You don't want to call us, you can email us. You can Facebook message us. You can, yeah, those ways. Give us a call and just let us know what questions you have, and so that we can better help you. And I'm not saying that we can help you. Like I said, what I tell all new patients. I won't know. I can tell you that we've treated thousands of patients and had great success, but I've never met you, I've never seen you, I've never examined you. I have no idea what's going on in your body. And that's why the first visit, we do an initial exam, because that is where we will know, number one, if we can help you. Number two, if you need any additional testing done. And we'll let you know in that first initial exam.
And unless people take a first step, they'll never know what they could potentially be missing out on. And if you are in the area, what I can say from my experience of listening to Jimmy over quite a time now, and hearing some of the testimonials, is that you've got quite an asset that's sitting there. So really do go and check out Jimmy's clinic, and I'll be putting the two clinics, and I'll be putting the details after the video today. So thank you so much for that, Jimmy. It's been a real pleasure talking to you, and yeah, and I wish you every success going forward.
Well, thank you, Mark. Thank you for having me, and it was awesome. Yeah, and I'll shoot you all those links that you can post in the bottom.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much. All the best now, Jimmy. Thank you.
All the best to you. Thanks, Mark.